Hey, I'm camping in the Sierra Mountains, and that explains my production values today, though they're always pretty much this way. But, yeah, I just made a video about material spirituality because it seems pretty fitting. Uh, this is what I'm talking about in my case. The thing I want to talk about, though, is, analytic ideas. I love analytic ideas. I, I think I'm good with them, and I enjoy them. They're like high quality, high precision surgical tools with which you can dissect a situation with a very fine uh, degree of precision. But on the other hand, they are like surgical tools, and with them we split ideas in half. Sometimes, not sometimes, but often, usually even, we split something in two with our analytic scalpels, and then we say, look, that's what it really is. It's these two things. And we forget that we cut them in two. That yes, if you cut an apple in two, you can say, look, this apple's really made of these two halves. But you can forget that you could have cut the apple in any number of ways and made two parts. It doesn't really mean that fundamentally those are the two parts. And this happens often. Cause and effect. I use the example often of when I push a glass across the table, it moves while I'm pushing it, not after. The cause and effect happen at the same time. They're joined, they're simultaneous. And it's not to say that the distinction is not valuable. It is valuable, just like it's valuable to be able to take a scalpel and go inside somebody's body and remove their ailing appendix. It's useful. But you don't really want to say that it's fundamental, or that the place that you choose to make the incision is somehow chosen by God or supernatural or something beyond your experiences. No, you're going to use your experiences. And the fact that you aren't just cutting something up to cut it into pieces, but you're cutting it up so that you can put it back together, so that you can fix the whole. You can't cut it in two and then forget about the whole. You can't cut cause and effect, whatever that real phenomena is, of continuity and energy transfer, and pretend you really ended up with two separate things. They really belong together in the same whole. Another example is connection and separation. The separation between two objects, spatially, is is a foot. Let's say they're a foot apart. That's also their connection. The stuff in between them, because they're distant, is the stuff that's in between them because of their connection, because they're only a foot apart. Now, when we use these surgical tools and split it in two, it is very useful because we can look at just one perspective on this. We can look at this distance between them as a connection, emphasizing what they have in common. Or we can look at it as a separation and emphasize what they have, differentiating them. In either ways, it's the same distance. And again, it's a very useful surgical tool, but it doesn't reveal the fundamentals as the tools themselves. The fundamentals are still in those things. So the fundamentals of looking at two objects, it can't come from emphasizing the separation. It doesn't come from emphasizing the connection in exclusion to the other. You have to study both the connection and the separation. When we cut things in two with these analytic scalpels, we have to use our analysis also to regain the balance, to regain the whole. And you can see this in separation and connection. You have people that emphasize the connection, and they emphasize the connection so much they want to say that the separation is an illusion, and that everything is really connected, and they end up arriving that everything is one. And you have people that emphasize the separation and think that we're all totally independent individuals, and they have to embrace the dog eat dog world of it's me or you, and they can't explain why someone would want to do something that takes their own energy and puts risk upon themselves for someone else, because they're just totally separate things, and they're not. They're neither all one, and they're neither all entirely independent. The balance comes when we integrate. So I love the analytic tools. I think I'm good at them, and my hobby here in philosophy is to create analytic tools. So I'm not trashing analytic tools, but I'm placing them in the proper uh, place in reality that they ought to hold. As surgical tools. And you don't deify them. You don't tell me God told us which surgical tools we had to have. You don't tell me you can create a surgical tool without experience. The same scalpel works on any human, on any mammal, on just about anything. A surgical knife's a pretty good knife. It's overkill for a lot of things, but it's a pretty good knife no matter what. And yet I don't want to hear that without experience I could deduce that. It's not really based on having experience, since it's so general. No, it's still based on our experience, and it's disrespectful to the experiences, because our experiences are our life. Our life is made of experiences. And if you disrespect the experiences that led to the creation of a tool, you're disrespecting someone's life. And if you disrespect the tool as well, you're not giving proper credit to the brilliant people that created these tools, that help refine these tools. You're saying that anybody could deduce that, or a computer could deduce that from a void with no sensory. No, 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 no. These were smart people that created good tools, and the reason they created them the way they did was because of their experiences, not in spite of them. So when I am arguing against the fundamental nature of these tools, I'm just saying it's better to admit we've engineered these tools. We're misunderstanding them if we try to think that somehow they just come from an ether, or from some source that is not dependent on experience, that is not tangible, that's not about a living experience. They all require embracing your experiences and listening honestly to what your experiences tell you. And so that's the way I advocate. That's the way I see analytic concepts. That's the way I advocate. All of us see them. And I do so as someone very interested in these kinds of tools. So cheers. I hope you're all having as much fun as I am.